Singapore's public housing model is often celebrated worldwide, but beneath its success lies a growing concern that affects millions. What happens when HDB flats, the largest asset for most Singaporeans, approach the end of their 99-year lease? Recent reports show that 1 in 3 HDB households are now seniors, and the vast majority want to age in place. However, many of these homes are already over 40 years old. As flats age, their value declines, and the risk of asset depletion becomes a pressing issue for both individuals and the nation. This video explores the policy, economic, and social implications of lease decay, drawing on the insights of Liang Shihian and why this is no longer just a personal worry but a national challenge. For decades, Singaporeans believed that buying an HDB flat was the best investment, a forced savings plan and a pillar of retirement security. But as Liang Shihian has long argued, a 99-year leasehold is a depreciating asset. Once a flat crosses 40 years, its value begins to fall and the decline accelerates as the lease shortens. Banks restrict financing for flats with less than 60 years left, and CPF usage becomes limited, shrinking the pool of eligible buyers. When the lease expires, the flat returns to the state at zero value, wiping out decades of savings and investments. This reality is especially harsh for seniors who plan their retirement around their homes, only to find themselves facing negative equity and insufficient funds as they age. Consequences of lease decay go far beyond individual households. Seniors who used large portions of their CPF to buy flats in the 1970s-1990s now face low resale demand, shrinking buyer pools, and growing medical expenses. Many cannot sell or downsize without incurring CPF refund shortfalls, trapping them in a cycle of negative equity and insufficient retirement saving. This creates a retirement poverty spiral, where high housing costs and heavy CPF use lead to depletion just as flat values collapse. Policy gaps worsen the problem. SERS is rare, VERS is untested, and compensation for lease decay is inadequate. Without transparent valuation and a long-term national plan, more than 1 million Singaporeans risk losing their life's biggest investment as their flats age. Lease decay is not just a personal or household issue. It is a structural challenge that will reshape Singapore's social and economic landscape. By 2030, more than half of all HDB flats will be over 40 years old, and by 2050, over 1 million will be in the last third of their lease. The convergence of an aging population and aging flats means rising elderly poverty, greater inequality, and increased intergenerational stress. Liang Shihian and other experts propose urgent reforms: fair compensation schemes, meaningful VERS implementation, affordable lease top-ups, and transparent valuation. Protecting Singaporeans' retirement security requires bold policy changes not just for today's seniors but for future generations. The question is no longer whether Singapore can afford to reform but whether it can afford not to.